Hello, I'm Robin Schumacher and welcome to the Schumacher Racing Factory. Today we're going to show you how to set up and get the best out of your Mi4 LP electric touring car, and here to do that is Chris Grainger, multiple British champion.
Hi, I'm Chris Grainger down at the Schumacher Factory today to take you through the basics of the Mi4 LP. Okay, when choosing the radio, it really doesn't matter whether you go for a steering wheel or a stick. It's really personal preference and what you grow up with. There's been many world champions with wheels, many world champions with sticks. And it's really just what you start with and you carry on and you just get used to it. But one thing I would recommend, whether it's a high-end radio like this or a radio to get going, an endpoint adjustment on the steering is very important. I choose a low profile, high torque servo. With touring car it's important to have a high torque servo to hold the lock at high speed on high bike tracks, but also you do need a fairly high speed servo for the fast direction change. The speedo I choose is a GM 120. This is a great speedo for modified and stock touring car racing due to the variable timing settings. For 90% of the tracks in the UK I use a GM 4.5 motor. For smaller tracks we may choose a 5.5 or even an 8T Delta. The 8T Delta is in between a 4.5 and 5.5. For indoors, a 10.5 motor is a good choice. And this is the GM 5400 50C LiPo. 5400 mAh is more than enough capacity for touring car, and the 50C rating keeps the power consistent over the whole 5-minute run. For securing the LiPo in the car, I prefer to use tape. This helps avoid tweaking the chassis, like a bar may do. The tape fits through 2 slots in the chassis. It's important when using tape that you make sure the slot is ready for the tape. The edges of the hole just need to have the sharpness taken away with just a small file, just so they don't cut through the tape. When installing the LiPo in the LP, I used the LiPo locators. This is quite a clever idea from Schumacher. The locators match the slots in the chassis. These come in the kits. You just glue them to the place required under the battery. With a pre-cut piece of battery tape, you place one end through one slot, the other end through the second slot, and pull through and smooth down on the back. So the battery slides into place, locating the locators in the chassis. Then with one piece of tape brought down and the second piece brought from the other side, the battery is nice and secure. For charging LiPo, it's important you choose the right charger. It needs to be one with a balance lead. The car battery is made up of 2 cells, so you need a balance lead to make sure both cells are kept equal. It's recommended you charge LiPos at 1C, so this 5400 LiPo should be charged at 5.4 amps and no more. The high-end chargers offer more adjustment for the LiPo. On this one you can adjust the individual voltage per cell. As I said, these are 2-cell LiPos. This is set to 4.2 per cell, so 8.4 for the total charge. For health and safety reasons, a lot of clubs insist on a LiPo sack for charging. The LiPo is placed inside the sack for safety. For initial servo setup, the radio and car must be switched on. With the servo trimmed in neutral, place the servo horn on the servo as close to the upright position as possible. This can be finely adjusted later. With the steering bell cranked straight ahead, the servo link should be 90 degrees to the horn. After completing the linkage, the servo endpoint needs to be adjusted with your radio. I like to set it with full lock, leaving a tiny amount of play between the steering block and caster block, so you're not straining the servo.